Alrighty, back at it with Battle City action, and in this one, Weevil Underwood is going up against none other than Strings. I was about to say Loomis and Umbra, but then I was like, no, he played yesterday. He played yesterday against Marek, although Loomis and Umbra do get to make an appearance again today as well. They will be playing against Jaden later on. And we also have Chumley going up against Rex Raptor after this one as well. Alright, Weevil's opening hand consists of Emperor's Mantis. There's a remove trap and an insect armor with laser cannon. Armored Bee, which is a pretty good card as well, and Lava Moth. So Strings has gone with a Fusion Sage and a face down defense to start off, but as it is a Strings match, he's probably going to get absolutely smashed, and it won't be too difficult to follow along. So I'm heading to the comments. And to start off, did everyone watch, well, everyone that's a WWE fan, who watched NXT today? It was a good opening NXT for 2025. Had some title changes. Sorry if I just spoiled anything, but there we go. That's what I'm up to in comments. Alright, face down again from Strings. Armored Bee has got a power-up boost. And Armored Bee is a good card. It can target a face-up monster the opponent controls and halve the attack at start of a turn. Down goes Gokabor. And Armored Bee in for the attack, and ooh, it's a revival jam. Alright, Panda Huffs 5760 says, been looking forward to this one. This was for the Jaden and Seeker match. There was a very long match. Seeker duels, they are something else. I really struggle to try and commentate them. That's why I was reading prologues out of instruction manuals. Rare Hunter Gaming 8689 says, wow, short duels again. This is for Marek and Loomis and Umbra, but somehow characters like Marek and Bakura are the most interesting to me next to Rebecca, and likes burn and healing strategies. Burn and heal strategies is what I used to always use as well back when I had physical cards. Even in earlier digital games, I would always go with a attacking life point strategy. White Magician Pikeru and Black Magician Curran were two monsters which I used quite extensively. Alright, Emperor Pikachu 2013 says, that a boy, Chumley, great video. That was for the Chumley and Mako match. And Moon Wolfie also says, Chumley turned Mako's monsters into sushi. Nothing better than sushi on any day of the week. Sushi's great. When I went to Japan, I went to one of those sushi train restaurants with some of the other group members from my tour group. Sarah and Fraser. Oh, that was a good night. Oh man, the sushi there was so good as well. It was like 100% fresh, and like it was made to perfection. And the sushi train, like, we're just sitting at the table and there's just a conveyor belt and it just goes round and around, and like, it's so cool. Alright, down goes Pinch Hopper. And it's looking like Strings is not going to ever get into this one. Parasite has just been flipped up. Moon Wolfie also says, so close to sweeping Seeker, but he pulled Exodia at the last moment to save his remaining life points, since Seeker probably would not have survived one more turn without it. But Jaden made use of Lady Heat's effect to beat Seeker in the end. And also says, from Moon Wolfie, I have a handful of Final Fantasy games, 7 and 8 on the PS1 with the remaster of 8 and original 7 on PS4. I too have that exact same description. I have both of them on PS1. And I have the remaster of 8 and the original 7 on PS... I've got the PS4 disc of Final Fantasy 8, but I play it all off PS5, but same thing. 10 and 10 Part 2 on PS2, I have both of them as well. Man, 10 Part 2 is like... That is one of the most unique Final Fantasy games in terms of how the story progresses and how pedantic it is if you miss something. With the remaster on PS3, I never had a PS3 back in the day. 1 and 2 on PSP, that's again another console I didn't have, was a PSP. Crisis Core on PSP and the Crisis Core remake on PS4. Is that on Nintendo Switch as well? Because I think I've got Crisis Core on Nintendo Switch. The 13 trilogy on PS3. I've never played Final Fantasy 13, surprisingly. Typo and 15 on PS4. Again, I've also not played 15. 12 on PS2. Yeah, I've got Final Fantasy 12 on PS2. I actually grew Vaughn to level 100 or level 99 at the very start against the werewolves in Giza Plains on the PS2 version, and also says the 12 Zodiac Age on PS4. I've got that as well, and I am currently playing that one, and once again leveling Vaughn up to level 99 in Giza Plains, which is a lot quicker this time because the Gladius is even stronger than what it was in the PS2 version. It's good against the werewolves, and I can put everything up to like 3 times or 4 times speed. As we see, Humanoid Wormdrake has come to the field, but I don't know how much good this is going to do. Pinch Hopper, if that gets attacked and destroyed, and it just has, Weevil can now summon Empress Mantis. I tell you what, Strings is not having a good opening match, as he usually doesn't anyway. 7 Remake on PS4 with the 7 Remake complete, and 7 Rebirth are on PS5. I have them as well, but I have never played them. I have a lot of games which I've never played, I will admit that. I had so much to play, but so little time. I had 3 and 4 on an old phone. I might have another older Final Fantasy game somewhere. I have finished all of the games though. 7, 8, 10, 10 Part 2, 7, Crisis Core, and 13 Trilogy are my go-to Final Fantasy games. I've played and finished Final Fantasy 1. I did that on... I've got them on Steam, actually. I've got 1 through 7 on Steam. And I've got them on... I don't know if I'll ever be able to play the Final Fantasy games on PS1 ever again because I can't speed them up. When I play the Final Fantasy VIII Remaster on PS4, I constantly have that 3 times speed on. I can't play it without it anymore. But out of all the Final Fantasy games, 8 and 10 are my favorite. So, with followed closely by Final Fantasy 12 is actually quite fun as well. But I will always put 8 and 10 as my absolute favorite. 8's the first one I played as well, so there's that nostalgia with Final Fantasy VIII as well. Okay, there goes Mother Grizzly, and Weevil's field is absolutely beautiful right now. Strings never had a chance in this one. Sukowski 1978 says, look up the original art for Dian Keto. Definitely a woman, an ugly woman, but still a woman. You know, I'll do that right now. I might Google that. And there we go. Strings has just been absolutely belted in that first match. Weevil did not hold anything back. Dian Keto, the Cura Master, original. Ah, and so it is. Huh, okay. That is a different looking... yeah, okay. They, I think the English one looks a bit better, but yes, I did just look up the original Japanese art for Dian Keto, and yes, it is definitely a woman. SCH292 says, Strings never stood a chance. That was for the Jaden and Strings match, which was played yesterday. Isn't that strange? Strings and Loomis Number both played yesterday. They're both playing again today. That wasn't done by purpose. That was just complete coincidence. But It's always fun watching him get smashed. There's reload, so Strings just throws that hand away. And oh, there we go. He just needs a polymerization, and he can get a that humanoid worm drake to the field. Alright, Sinister Serpent played down. From Strings' perspective this time. We're on Weevil's last time. Sukowski 1978 says, Diana Keto, the Cura Master, look at the original. That was just a follow-on from the previous comment. Green 19862, I think that's a new name as well, and says, have you tried Pepsi with cane sugar? I don't drink soda that often anymore, but that shit's good. Pepsi with cane sugar. When you say cane sugar, I'm assuming sugar cane. Funny thing with Australia, we had a problem many years ago with insects eating and damaging the sugarcane fields. I can't remember exactly what insect it was, but it was like a massive issue. And so the brilliance of whoever's decision it was thought it would be a good idea to bring in these toads. And what the toads would do is that they would eat the insects, but they wouldn't eat the sugarcane, so therefore the sugarcane wouldn't get damaged. Well, it turns out these toads, who are now known as cane toads, they started to breed and are extremely toxic to anything that tries to eat it or attack it. So the cane toad population got out of control, and still to this day, it's more over east where it's a massive problem, but the problem got so big with these cane toads, like they ate all the insects that were eating the sugarcane, but everything else started getting killed by the venom from the cane toads. We're talking cats and dogs that would try to catch them and would bite them, would get infected by the poison, to even so far to go as crocodiles. A crocodile skeleton washed up, and there was a cane toad remains inside of it. And the problem got so bad that there was a reward at some point where people who would go out and start knocking off cane toads would actually get a reward for each one they knocked off, which was absolutely bizarre. I'm actually... You would hear about it on the news quite a lot. Cane toad problem Australia. I've just quickly Googled it. Is it still a problem today? Apparently, yeah. Yeah, they're becoming a pest after being introduced into Australia to control destructive beetles in Queensland's sugarcane crops. And that article's only from 3 years ago, and they still, to this day, they're never going to get rid of them all. There's always going to be cane toads around probably now, but yeah, it's a widespread problem over east. Queensland's the top right-hand state of Australia. A1465 says, almost got to see Master of Oz in that first match. That was for Chumlee and Mako. Mr. Broski 15, that's a newer name. I don't think I've seen that one before. E-Hero Blade Edge is a hard counter to scapegoat tokens. Basically a direct attack, yeah. It is a very dangerous card. In fact, using a scapegoat or even scapegoat in your deck is always at risk, because if they do piercing damage, you can't defend with them. Michael Page 2507 says, liked playing Final Fantasy 8 and 10. Hey, just like me, as I was saying before. 8 and 10 are both my favorites. If you ask me which one do I prefer out of 8 and 10, oh, that's a tough question. And 10's probably the more interesting game and got better locations because of the PS1 limitations. But Final Fantasy VIII was my first, and the story of Final Fantasy VIII is just so tragically perfect. Mind you, Final Fantasy X's story is pretty good as well. Did you know that Final Fantasy X's story the one that we got on disc in the end on PS2 was actually very different from their original concept, and they pretty much rewrote the entire game, because they obviously weren't happy with something with their original one. So makes you wonder, what exactly were they thinking of doing for the original concept of 10? Callum Campbell 4746 says it's pronounced conglomerate. That was probably something out of one of the prologues from one of the books I was reading. It was a Jaden and Seeker match comment. Connor Chavez 7984 says hands down the best match. That was for Becca and Arcana. It was a really good match. It had a little bit of everything, and it went for about 50 minutes as well. Humanoid Worm Drake is reduced from Ultimate Insect level 7. I've been looking up and down at this duel, but Strings is just getting absolutely steamrolled. And there's Empress Mantis again. This has been an absolute hammering. Down goes Insect Barrier. Now, Strings has never been in this match. His deck it's one of the worst decks I think I've ever seen. Like, you can't do anything with it. Although he did beat Mai. So, alright. Oops. Kevin Flaherty 1598 says, I cannot remember which movie she did it. Oh, I remember it too. Cannot remember which movie she did it. Oh. That must have been something I was talking about in that Strings and Jaden match. I don't remember. Cannot remember which movie she did it. Oh, what movies was I talking about then? I don't remember. Okay, well, anyway, that's all the comments that I've had at the time of recording this. Usually a few more pop up by the time I'm done with the recordings and the commentary, but this one is over. Weevil absolutely smashes Strings, and he goes one more up in his rankings in Battle City Season. We've got Chumlee going up against Rex Raptor up next, and later on, Jaden will be taking on Loomis and Umbra. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks for leaving all the comments wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, take care, farewell.